Wood tends to buckle and bend under the Aussie sun, but not with Q-Tech. See, unlike other wood coatings that only protect the surface of the wood, Q-Tech gets right inside to nourish and protect it. Order your free Q-Tech sample today at cutek.com.au.
Hello everyone, welcome to today's Monday podcast. Of course, we're back live on Tuesday morning, and you know I love a Tuesday. All the track gallop news, Randwick this week, of course, Saturday, the Epsom, the Metropolitan, the Flight, and of course Flemington has the star-studded Toowoomba. We'll be all over that on Tuesday morning. Your Monday podcast, Lee Jordan joins us from the VRC to talk about Flemington this week. Also, we reminisce a lot on a Monday. Mitchell Bell back in the New South Wales jockey ranks with a couple of winners over the last few days, back from injury. Murwillumbah trainer Stuart Campbell on his horse Machina Volante, who of course has won a couple of the Northern River Cups. Matt Brown from Cranbourne about a debuting 2-year-old, a debutant on Saturday that ran super at Sandown. Todd Pollard, who looks after the Annabelle Neesham horses, particularly Zaki in Melbourne through the spring. We talk about the weekend's racing with Greg Carpenter from Racing Victoria, Chris Nelson from Queensland with his horses to follow, Glenn Schofield, Art Cadeau, the Kosciuszko favourite, or one of the favourites for Terry Robinson, barrier trial for Tommy Berry. We spoke to the stable this morning about that. And also our banter with Levi Kavanagh after weekend success, their first training success with Mark and Levi. Hope you enjoy Monday's podcast. And I was making it with Paz Load yesterday. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another week of Bensley, 1611 AM in northern Tasmania, our Victorian audience, the SEN radio app. Hope you had a terrific weekend. It was a long weekend because it started, as it will, right through the spring and summer with Friday night racing at the Valley. Wild Ruler winning the race gets a slot in the Everest. The Inferno runs second, gets a slot in the Everest in Sydney. And who knows, maybe Trekking will get the Godolphin slot. So it told us that the Moir Stakes has been another outstanding rendition. This morning we're going to talk in our banter much later in the morning with Levi Kavanagh. They had their first partnership success on Friday night at the Valley, Levi and his father Mark, and it was a stakes race. So well done to them. And as I say, we'll talk to him much later in the program. This morning, it's been a busy one for a Monday. Incentivise was at Caulfield this morning for a gallop on the course proper. Cruised around with a partner. Brett Preble rode Incentivise again. No surprise this has happened because Peter Moody told us after taking the horse to the Valley last Monday night that they'd do something similar this morning or this week, and they've done it this morning. As I say, Incentivise worked with a partner. Round out wide on the course proper, Brett Preble on, and everything's gone to plan. I got the big tick emoji from Peter Moody as well this morning following the trip from Pakenham to Caulfield with Incentivise. We're going to start this morning by gearing up for a massive Saturday at Flemington. Lee Jordan's online from the Victoria Racing Club. And Lee, what a meeting this is every year, the Turnbull.
Yes, Andrew, great to chat to you this morning. And fantastic. Total of $3.5 million in prize money on offer this Saturday, which is fantastic. And the Turnbull Stakes and this meeting's a real pivotal meeting coming into the spring, really. The Turnbull Stakes is $1 million this year, for the first time, 2,000 metre set weights and penalties. And Chris Waller is trying to win this race for 5 times in a row, 5 consecutive years. He won it, we know, with Winx in 2017, 2018, Kings Will Dream in 2019. And last year with Very Elegant. So a fantastic training performance, and we're all hoping Very Elegant will take the trip down here and make it 5 in a row. And that's there's plenty of other highlights in the meeting, which I'm sure we'll get to, but it really is looks like a fantastic meeting this Saturday.
You mentioned Very Elegant, maybe a decision later today when the owners chat with Chris Waller. We'll wait and see on that. Likely to be dual nominated, and then we'll wait and see. But as I said in precursor to you, Lee, Incentivise worked at Caulfield this morning, but certainly runs on Saturday in the Turnbull, and he's just the one that everyone's gripping to at the moment.
Well, what a lineup with Incentivise, what he did in the Maccabi Diva. So Dragonet was a slashing run in the same race, and he's likely to front up as well. We talked about Very Elegant. Colette's in great form. and you've got, the explosive Jack and, a whole host of others. So truly it'll just be a fantastic race, Andrew. And, ably supported by the Bart Cummings, which has just grown in stature over the years. It's increased in prize money this year. It's $750,000, and we all know the winner of the race gets a straight entry right into the Melbourne Cup, which is a great incentive. And I know, looking at the early noms this morning, we've already got about 23 horses in there already, and the noms don't close till midday, so I'm expecting that to be a fantastic race. Interesting nom there is Shiraz from Chris Waller. First start here in Australia, a horse that raced in France, previously owned by the Aga Khan. Got some pretty handy form over there. So if he goes around, he'll be very interesting. But we know Trailsy Rose and Rob Hickmont for Lloyd Williams will have multiple starters as well. So that race, again, looks fantastic.
Yeah, the owners and trainers get a bit nervous until the order of entry comes out much later today in regard to the Bart Cummings when there's so many entries. But we'll wait and see what unfolds. I spoke to Lloyd Williams a few times yesterday, and he went from having maybe a couple to probably having 4. So we'll wait and see. The Gill Guy, the Dane Hill, and the Maribyrnong Trials, another of the 2-year-old races after that good race last Wednesday.
Yeah, it was really good, the first up 2-year-old race. It's the third year in a row we've had that on the midweek meeting, and this is the follow-up race, which looks really good. You mentioned the Danehill. We swapped the Danehill with the Poseidon, so this is the first time the Group 2 Danehill has run on Turnbull Day. It's obviously a real precursor to the Coolmore on Derby Day, and Ingratiating and Ranchand are already there already, so there'll be a bit of a rematch, but there's some other form coming through with Mornington Glory and some other horses as well. We've also got the Rose of Kingston, the Group 2 for fillies and mares over 1,400, which is part of the bonus. So the winner of that race would then be eligible for the $1 million bonus in the Group 1 Empire Rose on Derby Day over a mile, and also the Edward Manifold Stakes winner, the Group 2 for 3-year-old fillies over a mile. The winner of that race is also eligible for the $1 million bonus. So plenty to run for there. And the Rose of Kingston, Mystic Journey's already there, and what a great return to form she showed last start at Flemington, and still a star. The other Tasmanian mares there, and hoping for Instant Celebrity, and even Odium could be kicking off her campaign. So that really is quite intriguing, those 2 races as well.
It is a little bit of rain around, they say, on Wednesday, but we know a good draining Flemington. This track should be okay come the weekend, and it's just the precursor of what we're going to be able to see for the 4 days of Flemington. We know everything around crowd at this stage, and there's a lot of discussion, I know, between the VRC and the government, Lee, in regard to maybe just getting something over the line for, I'll say, for maybe a couple of those 4 days in late October, November.
Yeah, you're right, Andrew. We're obviously working very closely with the government, and fingers crossed that we'll have some people there over the 4 days. It would be fantastic, and I think the racing is really hotting up. So as you said, during the week, this week, a bit of rain. I think it'll probably just all come to plan. We'll probably get the rain middle of the week, which will just help Liam, not water, and the track just should be perfect by next Saturday.
Lee, we can't wait to talk to our listeners right through the week around Australia on SEN Track with our focus in on Flemington. We await the news around Very Elegant. We'll try and get that out later in the day. Appreciate your time this morning. Enjoy the week ahead.
Thanks, Andrew. Anytime.
That is Lee Jordan joining us there from the Melbourne Racing Club, and we thought we'd focus in the start of it, the build-up to Saturday. The final fields come out Wednesday, and as I say, incentivise going to Caulfield this morning for that important key gallop to give the horse a look before running in the Caulfield Cup. Well, let's focus in on Swan Hill now. It's a good 4, fine weather there for the first at 1 o'clock. And when I was going through doing some form yesterday, there's one horse that stood out. It's in race 2 called Wire Cut, and it's trained by John Rowe, who joins us. Morning, John.
Morning.
Good to talk to you, John. There's got to be a story around this son of Tickets, an 8-year-old debutante today.
Yes, it's taken a little while for him to hit the track, but the owner was a very good friend of mine, and he was broken in as a 7-year-old.
So what was he? He was just sitting in a paddock somewhere, was he, John?
Yes, yes. The owner wanted to save up the money enough to race it himself, and it just took him a little while, and now he's on track, and hopefully we get the win for him.
Let's hope so. He deserves it. The owner, G.A. Gray, wherever you are, sir, I hope that the patient game pays off. Tell us about the horse then. Broken in as a 7, runs for the first time as an 8-year-old. How's he been preparing for a meeting, John?
I started with the trial at Stall, and I've been spacing his runs because he never had that early conditioning as a younger horse.
Yeah.
So we've had a little bit of trouble with shin soreness, and it's just a matter of icing and swimming and getting ready. And I actually picked this race out a while ago for his first start.
975 metres, just a nice, there's going to be a good speed over that short trip, but he looked okay in the jump out, John, that we've seen.
Yes, and that was on a heavy track too. And that was sort of the last trial of the day. I just think he's just going to keep improving, hopefully.
And you go to the races, you want to pay for the dedication to the owner, but can you tell us your expectation, John? What do you think Wirecut can do today?
Well, he's a very tough horse, and I think that he should run very well.
And from the draw over the 975, what do you think you'll be telling Will Price?
I think I'll be just leaving it up to Will. Will's a very good rider, so I'll be leaving it up for his decision.
And has he got enough speed early on to be somewhere if Will wants him to do that, given first run?
Oh, definitely. Every time we've jumped him out, he's got quicker and quicker, so he seems to have a very good turn of foot.
Let's hope so. And John, tell us about you. You're based at Stall. How many do you train?
I've only got 3 in work at the moment, or 4. Most of it is breaking in.
Yep.
For Paul Prushka and all that, because I broke in Luna Fox, and I've spent a lot of time with Terry O'Sullivan, Osty Coffey, Darren Weir, and doing a lot of helping other trainers around the area. And sometimes I just go and strap just to go to the races for the day.
You love just going. I think there's about 1,000 people listening right now, mate, that would love to go and strap a horse.
Yeah, it is. It is good.
Yeah, no, I reckon just to be at the races. Hey, John, it's a great story, mate, whatever happens. But listening to you, you've done your job. You've broken him in as a 7-year-old. You've got him to the races today, Wirecut, and we can only wish everyone the best. I hope that he's flashing to the line late and can be right there.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Good on you, John. John Rowe joining us there, the trainer of Wirecut in the second race. We'll get some markets up here for Bet365. By the way, I mentioned at the start the Paslow tools. And yesterday I was out there doing some work with the Pasloads. They'll be number 1 since 1986. We're getting our front fence painted soon. And we had to get out there and take out an old letterbox and do all that sort of stuff. And the Pasloads came through well and truly. And it's not a paid ad, I guarantee you. Pasload, reliability, comfort, performance, it's all there. And great to have them a part of the Bensley program right through the Spring Carnival. This is our Victorian program as we do Monday to Thursday mornings. It's unbelievable that I spoke to John Crow, who's based at Stall, when we're talking about a Swan Hill meeting, but our next guest is based out that way as well. Andrew Bobbin, good morning.
G'day, Andrew. Thanks for having me on, mate.
Fantastic, mate. How's everything there?
Yeah, things are good. Sun's out shining, though we're talking the rest of the week rain, so we'll make most of the sunshine today.
Yeah, I think you're right. So you're only going with one runner late in the day, Mount Madeira, but it's a horse that came back with a nice run at Cassidy for you.
Certainly did, and that run and also today's run are just part of the big picture with him. He's still hardening up, if you like, and I think he'll be better with blinkers on. So punters out there, when the blinkers go on, that's probably the time to back him. And we'll know that whether after today's run, whether it'll be run 3 of the prep or run 4. In saying that, I expect him to run a good race, and he's well in the market. But from the second widest gate, I think that Harry will just be getting some cover. And if he's charging at the line at the end, I'll be very happy, regardless of where he finishes.
Going to 1600 second up, that just suits this style of horse?
Yeah, I think so. He does have a very good second up record. I think he's actually 2 second up, which is worth noting. But just the way I've trained him, I think once the shades go on, probably the next run, I expect him to be at his best. But in saying that, he can still run a good race today.
Is he one, when you mentioned 2 out of 2 second up, is he one that just naturally improves?
Yeah, I would say so. I've only had him for this prep, of course, but the improvement he took from race 1 and to where he is today suggests that we're certainly on the right track with him. He's still got a little bit of tightening up to do around the girth, but we want to have a prep with him. We want to get 5 or 6 runs out of him at least. So all part of the progression. And as I said, he's a horse that needs blinkers. Just his last couple of gallops, he just tends to clock off a bit the last 100 metres. So today will be all part of the progression, but if he runs a good race still, I won't be surprised.
Yeah, the main thing is he's coming home. If not winning, certainly be running on. We'll watch for maybe the next run with the blinkers going on. Andrew, you've built a team over the last 12, 18 months that you've got consistent runners now, and, Scottish Dance has come to town a couple of times. Are you happy with the way it's progressed?
I'm beyond my wildest dreams. We're 12 months in, and I just stand here now looking out at the horses, and we've got a good number here. A good amount of staff. Obviously, the horses that we've started off with over the first 12 months, the majority of them they've seen better days with other trainers, but they've been horses that have been good to get me to the races and also experiment a little bit with here at the property and just get out there and racing. So going forward, there's enough 2-year-olds here that will continually get us to the races over the next couple of years, and hopefully 1 or 2 of them can gallop.
Let's hope so. Scottish Dancer, I see here you've decided to tip out for a spell.
Yeah, that's right. Although he's got good form on firm tracks, I just think that he's a little bit better with some give in the ground. So he can have a decent break at the moment, and we'll be back for the autumn and winter.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to juggle them, haven't you? And, it's good prize money around now with the spring, but you can win healthy prize money at any time these days.
That's the beauty of Australian racing. The prize money's good, and he's also at that. They can reach their mark, and he's probably up there where he, with those city races, he's up at his peak rating at the moment. So don't be surprised if he bobs up in a few country cups over the course of the next 12 months and beyond.
Okay, Scottish Dancer in the paddock. Andrew, appreciate your time this morning with the one runner, but certainly a big chance in that last race today at Swan Hill. Safe travels there, mate.
Good on you. Thank you very much.
Andrew Bobbin joining us there with the very latest. Right now at Bet365, Mount Madeira is at $4.60 in that last race. Buck and Hawks at $4 and the Enzo at $5. Gaucho's the favourite though, $3.30. Right now, a horse that will be sitting up on the pace for Dan O'Sullivan. Just going back to that second race with Wire Cut, trained by John Rowe. Will Price takes the ride. $5 right now at Bet365. Kai Chi is the favourite for Henry Dwyer, the 9 at $2.50. And as I say, Wire Cut at $5 and Lethal Encounter is at $5.50. We'll monitor those as we get through the next couple of hours. But there's a good story by the sounds of it around Wire Cut. The owner has been very, very patient and deserves some sort of result today as a debutante. Let's take a break. We'll talk more about Swan Hill and about the weekend's Victorian racing after this. Yes, and coming up after our news in about 5 or 6 minutes, we'll start to go national. Big focus around what's happened over the weekend. Matt Brown's going to join us from Cranbourne. He had a debutante on Saturday at Sandown called Prix de Turn. Got to be a story around that horse going first run in town. We'll talk to Matt Brown about that. Greg Carpenter a little while later from Racing Victoria as well. Lots of other news through the morning from a spring point of view. We've followed up on a lot of horses. It is a long weekend with the night racing on a Friday night, as it will be right through the spring and summer. The Valley and, of course, Cranbourne won't be far away from kicking off as well through the summer. So very much looking forward to it all unfolding and keeping you right up to date. Lee Jordan said earlier about the Turnbull. Johnny Get Angry will be there. Dennis Pagan says, yep, we're starting to get towards the distances that we will start seeing the best from the Derby winner. So Johnny will be there. Will be interesting to see what Matt Smith does with K.I. Nautique. It'll be nominated for the Turnbull, I reckon, and then it's down whether he brings to Melbourne or stays in Sydney for this weekend, possibly the Epsom. Let's go and have a chat with Will Gordon on our Victorian dedicated program, heard on the SEN radio app. Tassie, Perth, good morning. Will, what a day Coleraine Cup Day was for you. Well done.
Yeah, good morning. It was a good day. Yeah, can't complain.
You go to the races with some good rides and then suddenly you ride 4 of them, mate. How was it in the jockey's room?
Yeah, no, it was good. There wasn't too many of us down there, so no, it was good. You sort of go to the races when you've got a good book like that. You hope things like that happen, but it usually doesn't, so it's nice when it actually does.
I love the win of Write Your Name. I know, it's a benchmark 64, but I love the way the horse really did extend under you there.
Yeah, no, he was good. I think he's a horse that he's drawn some bad barriers sort of in his last couple, and they've just tried to go back on him and ride him a bit conservative. But I think he's definitely a horse that who went forward and ride him up on speed, and he gave a good kick, and he was strong.
You've got an opportunity to go to Swan Hill today, and you've got plenty of rides there. You're one, I guess, that you ride in jumps races, but the way that the races are being weighted, it gives you opportunities. Yeah,
exactly. I'm obviously one of the taller riders, and I can ride 56, but that's sort of my minimum. But yeah, no, it's good when you can pick up a good few races on a card to make it sort of worth the trip, and slowly picking up a few better rides, which is good. Nothing too special today, but enough to make the trip worth it.
Who are those guys for Anthony Cosgrove in race 5? A horse that you rode on debut wasn't too bad on the synthetic last time around.
Yeah, he's a horse that he's actually quite a nice type of an animal. When I sort of rode him, he was still a bit immature and just still learning, but I think he's probably got it there. It's just whether it'll take another run or two for him to sort of click on race day. But I think he's a horse that will improve in the next run or two.
And another one, you ride a couple for Amy McDonald, of course, with the stable there at Ballarat. This is one Master Poet that's come off jumping, so it's certainly going to be rock hard fit for 2400 today.
Yeah, that's it. She's a great trainer, Amy. You always know horses are going to be fitting well. So yeah, they're always in with the shout. He's obviously going to be fit, and yeah, hopefully they can put the best foot forward.
And mate, you're still doing obviously plenty of Ks. You're in the car now driving to Swan Hill, but you're riding still plenty of work in the mornings.
Yeah. Rode 4 this morning and tried to shift a bit of weight before driving up here. So. Yeah, busy morning, so keeping busy anyway. Yeah.
Mate, well done the other day. 4 winners at Coleraine. Hope there's a couple coming up this week. Thanks for joining us this morning and safe travels.
No worries, thanks a lot.
Will Gordon joining us there. Rides through most of them today at Swan Hill. The Victorian program, fine and a good 4. And tomorrow we'll be previewing Kilmore. It's Bet365 for Kilmore tomorrow. We'll do it in this half hour with the track at the moment. Last report was a soft 7, but the weather over the last couple of days has been encouraging. That's it, as I say, our Victorian program. Monday to Thursday mornings at this time, heard not only in Victoria, but Tassie and Perth. National program is next. Yes, good morning, Australia. Welcome to our national racing program with a focus on the Spring Carnival action, of course, in New South Wales and Victoria over the weekend. But, of course, on a Monday, we talked to Chris Nelson to reflect on his horses to follow from Queensland over the weekend. And I found a couple for Chris as well, going back to night racing at the Sunshine Coast on Friday night. And there was night racing back at the Valley on Friday night with the running of the Moir, and who knows, maybe the first 3 home in the Moir will all be clashing again in the Everest in about 3 weeks' time. Wild Ruler wins the race, jockey to be confirmed in the Everest. In the Inferno runs second. I think there's many people listening that were thinking, gee, the Inferno is going to win this, you beauty, but didn't quite get there. The Inferno without a jockey in the Everest at this stage, and Godolphin sit there with probably a decision you would think over the next couple of days. Trekking is sitting there, who ran third in the Moir. It was a terrific race and races on Friday night. We'll update on plenty of news out of that. But we love it on Monday to start looking outside the square. The obvious is to go and talk to the key players from the big races. But on a Monday, we like spreading out and just reflecting on things that have happened away from the city tracks. And Mitchell Bell is one of those, a New South Wales-based jockey who we haven't seen since early April due to an injury. And he's joining us after riding yesterday at Bathurst and a first winner back at Scone late last week. Well done on the success, Mitch.
Yeah, it's great to be back, especially with a couple of winners in the first week and a half of being back. Yeah, it's great.
We'll talk about the winners shortly, but Mitch, for our listeners, take us back to April when we saw you last, and that was a full hip replacement.
Yeah, unfortunately, sort of put up with it for quite a while, and I had to draw the line and tell myself that, you know, if I keep going and pushing it, that I'm going to be no good to anyone. So we bit the bullet and went through the process of getting it done, and I'm great now. I'm actually thankful I got it done. So,
did it take more time than what you expected?
Definitely did take a lot longer. We had a couple of issues. I had a bit of nerve damage after the operation, and a muscle, the hip flexor muscle, that just wasn't doing what it was meant to do at the time. We kept working at it. You know, finally got there in the end, but it did feel like it took forever.
And did you feel that? Were you getting frustrated in trying to get back?
Yes and no. Like, I didn't want to force it. I didn't want to push it and get to the point where I'm, you know, trying to just get back just for the sake of it. I wanted to make sure I was right and fit, because there was a point there, as far as fitness goes, I wasn't fit at all because we couldn't do too much. But once we started the progress and get closer, that I was able to start training a lot harder. And, you know, that process helped me to where it gets me to where I am today, because I'm a lot fitter than what I was last time coming back. I sort of forced it last time, and I probably wasn't where I am today. So I'm thankful that it probably took a little bit longer, but yeah.
You're 10 days back or so. You're off to Tamworth today for another set of rides off the weekend's opportunities. How's the body feeling that far in?
Look, surprisingly good. I was a bit worried leading up to this weekend that I thought, you know, even today being Tamworth, I thought that I'm probably going to struggle, but my fitness is good. My body feels great. Muscles are great. So I think that hard work leading up to the back end of coming back really helped.
How was it on Friday at Scone to get Ceasefire that first return win?
Oh, it felt good. Look, Massaro's always been a good supporter of mine. And he actually rang me after my first meeting back at Nowra and said, how do you feel? I gave him the thumbs up, and he said, look, I've got 3 for you Friday, and we need a winner. I said, well, I need a winner too, Paul, so it sounds good. It felt great. It felt great to be riding for Paul again, and he shows potential with that horse. I think he's got a bit more to give. And
yeah, that was Ceasefire winning it really nicely. You finished with a first, a second, and third with Paul Massara, so I hope he was happy at the end of the day.
I actually said to him, I hope this works out for you, mate. He goes, well, it's better. But nah, yeah, it did work. He was happy enough.
Yeah, fantastic. And then yesterday you rode at Bathurst on Cup Day, and the horse that won the last Sporanic, it's in the mix around the Kosciuszko. Gee, it let down nicely.
Yeah, it certainly did. The speed was good for us. We were able to just tack him behind the speed, and we travelled right up to where we needed to. But the horse really let down nicely, and I think there's a bit of improvement there. You know, if it's looking towards to go towards the Kosciuszko, I'd be quietly confident.
I think it's just great to have you back, Mitch. Was off the scene, as you've spelled out, from around early April until about 10 days ago, September 19 at Nowra. So fantastic. It's been a strange old time that we've dealt with, but it's great to have M. Bell back riding winners. Thanks for joining us, mate, and I hope the success from Friday and yesterday continues on.
Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate it.
Mitchell Bell joining us on our Bensley program, and he's going to Tamworth with some chances today. Gold Luna, one of those again for Rod Northam in the fourth race at Tamworth. Race 4, number 12, currently around $7. Let's hope there's further success. Jasper Franklin was an apprentice that we spoke to when he rode his first winner, and since then he's been just knocking up riding winners. He's got the morning off because he's not feeling 100% with a bit of flu. But I tell you something, making up for that is the winning trainer of Thursday's Lismore Cup, Stuart Campbell. Well done to you, Stuart.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Well done. You've only trained 2 horses, and there they were winning on Thursday.
Yeah, they're both only 2 I train at the moment. I've been training for about 20-odd years.
Yep. It's just the way it
So,
is.
yeah, it was good.
Yeah, just the way it is with horses coming in and out of the stable.
Oh, yeah, we both, Fran and I, work full time. So, you know, we have had more, but it's just found it just a bit easier with the couple, yeah.
Well, the Cup Machina Volante, a horse that, has just enjoyed the Northern Rivers Cup Carnival this year.
Yeah, he's done really well. He done well. Last prep he was a little bit ordinary, ended up with an injury, but before that, our first prep with him, he won 4 in a row and then had a couple of downers. It's funny though, Andrew, he ran 3rd in the sprint race at Lismore last year, the one the other little horse won this year. So I was trying to get him ready for the country championships last year and probably hurried him a bit and, yeah, paid the penalty.
Well, as a 5-year-old right now, he wins the Murwillumbah Cup. He won the prelude of the Lismore Cup, and then he came out the other day, and Jasper Franklin knows this horse because he never panicked from where he was and started to really urge him along approaching the home turn.
Yeah, he rode him well last week. He's rushed a little bit the week before, but I think that was stepping up to the longer distance the first time, and he just settled beautiful the other day. Got him out of trouble on the corner and, he ran over the top of him.
And Stuart, he's a 5-year-old that's only had the 19 starts and he's building a really nice record around Northern Rivers. And I know you've taken him over the border into Brisbane a little bit as well. Has he got a bit of a future in the short term? What's the plan?
He's having a week off now, obviously. I've got no doubt he's got a future. I haven't hurried him when we got him off Peter Roble. Peter was convinced he'd sort of get up over 2,000. And as I said, we looked at the country championships last year and, you know, as I said, I'll probably bug it up, but now we're just letting him sort of do his own thing. We're taking him to Brisbane was probably a blue too. It was when the borders were shut and he sort of had to line up there in a stinking hot day and he just, to get across, and he just didn't handle it at all. And I should have probably scratched him, but easy in hindsight, isn't it?
It is very easy in hindsight. So he has a break now, but Peter Roble's been proven right here that he's going to enjoy getting over 2,000 plus.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm sure even further. Yeah, probably a long range plan. We'll look at maybe the Grafton Cup next year. Before then, we might even send him down south, and there's not a lot for him right where we are, like in our position. So we'll see what happens.
And Stuart, you mentioned you work full time, mate. How are things? You're based right on the border there at Murwillumbah, New South Wales into Queensland. How are you getting through it all?
It's a bit of hassle for me. I haven't been able to work. I work up at the hospital, and obviously can't get over the border to go to work. But Fran, she works in New South, so she's kept the grocery money coming in.
Yeah, beautiful. And I dare to forget the other horse that won the sprint there. Nice horse.
He's been fantastic to us. We got him from Victoria. Got a brother down there that picks a few out for us, and he's paid for himself 5 or 6 times over now. He's improved. Having said that, when he got here, he was, I think, coming out of Cranbourne, he 600 or 700 horses a morning or whatever, and he had sort of I don't know what you'd say, personality or whatever, but now that he's just around here in a paddock most days and that, he's starting to get a bit of an attitude.
Well, he's got a winning attitude, and you love that. You'll cop a little bit of attitude when they keep winning, mate. And
for sure. I think, sounds silly, I think there's one spot left in the Kosciuszko.
2.
You do worse than get him. He's a couple of his wins in these. Well, I think he's won 4 of his last 6, and 2 have been in class records, and one's an open sprint. And he's just in a good spot at the minute. So if someone's out there, you never know.
Well, there's 2 slots to go in the Kosciuszko, so you never know. Go and watch the Lismore win from Thursday to give you some insight. RacingNSW.com.au. Stuart, well done. Thanks for joining us this morning, mate.
Thank you.
Stuart Campbell joining us there from his Murwillumbah base. Machina Volante wins the Lismore Cup, and winning the Showcase Sprint was Pride of Yingira. That might be a horse. Who knows? 2 spots to go in the Kosciuszko. We'll talk about a special debutante at Sandown on Saturday next. Yeah, big day coming up tomorrow for the Epsom and the Metrop, the Flight Stakes. Acceptances taken tomorrow, so a lot of interest in those regarding final fields. 20 can line up in the Epsom, so we'll wait and see what unfolds around that. We'll have, of course, a busy morning tomorrow being a Tuesday with all the track gallop news. Some news out of the Moir on Friday night. Brooklyn Hustle, as we know, came around the bend and all she wanted to do was get off the track. Just not everything right come Saturday morning, but Jason Warren's let me know this morning that she's responded really well over the weekend to treatment after not pulling up 100%. They're looking that they may go to Caulfield next. I posed the question around the Manikato, but Brooklyn Hustle might go to Caulfield in a couple of weeks' time. And I spoke with Mick Price and Michael Kent Jr. stable this morning, Profiteer. The horses come through well, pulled up very sound out of the Moir. They're looking at running in the Blue Sapphire. That's now on the middle Wednesday of the Caulfield Cup Carnival, and from there into the Group 1 Coolmore down the straight at Flemington. As I say, the horses pulled up really sound from Friday night, Profiteer. Let's go and chat about another horse that didn't win on the weekend but ran so proud for Cranbourne trainer Matt Brown. Matt, you would have been thrilled with the debut of Predeturn.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You sort of, we knew he was pretty talented, but obviously you got to get there and see them do it at the track. And he still did a few things wrong, but he was game in defeat. We're certainly leaving there pretty happy.
I reckon you would have been. And obviously the Colt's shown you something for, a 3-year-old race in town on a Saturday.
Yeah, from day one we sort of knew he was probably above average, and he sort of hasn't put a foot wrong all the way through this prep. And we obviously had a few little setbacks along the way. We sort of thought we'd have a maiden knocked off and sort of into that race second up, or even the week earlier in the Guineas Prelude second up. But just he had a few little hiccups along the way where he hurt himself and things like that. So we sort of thought, well, if we're going to still, sort of look at going to the Guineas, he needs to go there Saturday and be pretty competitive if we're going to head that way.
So does Saturday tell you come on the Caulfield Guineas Prelude?
Yeah, we just got to sort of cross our fingers now and hope he can get a run. That's the problem. But yeah, look, he's definitely, I think, good enough to be pretty competitive because he's got a fair bit of improvement there, and obviously his first day at the races and all that, he still was jumping shadows up the back at the top of the hill and sort of weaving around and zigzagging a bit. So there's plenty of improvement there. So wherever he goes, he's going to have improved a hell of a lot with his day out, and hopefully he can go one better wherever he goes next.
You were telling me yesterday, Matt, that you've been waiting for the right Turn Me Loose. There was a family link with that horse.
Yeah, correct. The old man was lucky enough to race Turn Me Loose with a lot of his mates, and obviously I got to ride the journey with him and got to see him win obviously all those nice races and stuff. And we always said that we'd wait and find the one that we thought sort of showed us a few resemblances of the way he used to go about his business. And when we saw this bloke in the breeze ups, it was he was the one. He was very bold in the way he breezed up, and he just had a lot of traits similar to his old man. And hopefully he's obviously kicked off his career in a pretty good way. So hopefully, we can get a similar sort of journey. It'd be pretty nice. Sometimes
you see the link between the sire, from mum and dad going through a horse, but you've obviously been very close through watching videos, not only being there to watch Turn Me Loose. So there are similar things here, are there?
Yeah, there are. Like, he doesn't really look like his old man, although he is starting to shape up into a similar type to his old man. But it was more just, he just had that attitude. He was sort of very up and about, and like he was a very bold going horse. Obviously, Turn Me Loose, and he's got a very similar action to his old man. And the way he breezed up, you could just see those sort of traits in him. And even in the mounting yard on Saturday, I actually double strapped him with the strapper, and the way he got around the mounting yard was the exact way that his old man used to get around the yard. So that sort of got me a little bit excited when we're in the yard. And obviously the way he pinned the ears back and had a red hot crack was exactly like his old man as well. So. Obviously, he's a long way off where Turn Me Loose is, but it's a good start.
It is, and there's a good group of owners, obviously, that have bought into this colt.
Yeah, exactly. Look, we could have sold him 3 times over when we got him. He sold that quick, and look, a lot of them have been long-time clients, and a few that race Turn Me Loose as well, which is good. So, there's a few first-time owners in him as well, so they're going to have a good ride, I'd say, in their first ever horse. So. Yeah, fingers crossed we can, wherever he goes next, fingers crossed we can have a bit of luck.
Yeah, cross the fingers on getting into a Caulfield Guineas prelude with Predeturn. And Matt, we've spoken right through the winter. You've got a stable. Will it evolve out of the winter time into spring and summer?
Yeah, look, we've got a few nice ones that are ready to sort of step out. A few that are sort of coming through their grades as well. Obviously, he's a real deal. He kicked off his prep really well and hasn't had a lot of luck in his next 2. But, he's got another nice race in him, whether it's sort of a Saturday race or whether it's just a Friday night at the Valley or something. Swindon Lass won really well first up the other week. She'll be able to step back into city grade now and should be pretty hard to beat. And a few other young ones as well. So, it's exciting. We've got a lot of young horses, a lot of ones that haven't stepped out as yet. So, look, the future's looking good, and obviously we just try to keep upgrading the stock each year and hopefully try and land a few nicer ones. Yeah,
well, you've done well so far, mate. Predeturn has done great things for you to run second there behind Extreme Flight, who I know that stable have got an opinion of, and beat home Lena's Legend, who may not have had all the luck down the straight, but still your horse was very, very good, and we cross the fingers on making that race at Caulfield. Thanks for your time, Matt. Really appreciate it.
No worries. Cheers.
Matt Brown joining us there from his Cranbourne base. Predeturn running second there on Saturday. Incentivise, favourite for a number of races during the Melbourne Spring, was taken to Caulfield this morning. Had an exhibition gallop, I guess you could say, out there on the course proper. Brett Preble went out. Peter Moody was there, galloping with a partner. Did it nice and cruisy. It's all part of the build-up to the Caulfield Cup. They did it last week, obviously, at the Valley as well. So everything's gone to plan with Incentivise this morning. Todd Pollard from the Annabelle Neesham stable after the news. Barrier trials are on this morning at Hawkesbury, and we're following those because during that news break, Art Cadeau for Terry Robinson has gone around, the second favourite for the Kosciuszko in about 3 weeks' time. We'll talk to Terry in about half an hour once he settles the horse down, but really nice, comfortable under Tommy Berry, who comes back from suspension on Thursday. He's been off for a number of weeks. He was there this morning. Trumbull led all the way in the 1,000-metre trial, running it in 59.23 to win by 2.5 under James McDonald. Be interesting to see what Kim Ward decides to do now. Trumbull's shown the horse's true form in the last couple of trials. Art Cadeau settled third the rail, got off the rail coming around the bend there at Hawkesbury, ran on to just nab second. Roheron and Aim both settled back 6th and 7th in a field of 7, but they were doing their best work in that last 100-odd metres, Aim and Roheron. But Art Cadeau will get the latest, as I say, from Terry Robinson, the trainer, in about half an hour's time. This hour, we'll talk to Greg Carpenter from Racing Victoria, Chris Nelson from Queensland's point of view. Also, Glyn Schofield, he'll spare us a few minutes between trials at Hawkesbury, and we'll also go through plenty of news from the weekend and also looking towards this week, because Lost and Running, who's locked away in the Everest, is going to be dual nominated for not only the Premier Stakes at Randwick on Saturday, but also the Gilgai at Flemington. And it's all weather dependent. Now, there's rain most days in Sydney this week. Melbourne, the worst of it will be Wednesday, up to 25 mil of rain. But after that, it is meant to clear out. So it'll be interesting to see just where Lost and Running goes. I will say, talking with John O'Shea yesterday, maybe a leaning towards the Gilgai, that feeling the trip away and the straight course would not be a hindrance towards Lost and Running heading towards the Everest. So we'll wait and see. And by the way, while we're on John O'Shea, he just loved the last couple of 100 metres of Benno on Saturday and bring on the spring champion next. Well, we all waited with high anticipation on Saturday. The first Melbourne appearance of Zaki, trained by Annabelle Neesham. It was a success in the smallish field. Todd Pollard has done 14 days of quarantine. He's now out, works for Annabelle as an assistant trainer and is in Melbourne. Welcome, Todd.
Thanks a lot for having me on, Andrew.
No, fantastic, Todd. I guess in some way relieving just to see the first Melbourne run go that way.
Yeah, absolutely. It was probably, definitely the right option, bringing him down to have a look around a track like Sandown first before heading to the Caulfield Stakes, which obviously is going to be a lot trickier. He's bring them down here, the left-handed direction. You can do a little bit of work with them at home back in Sydney, but it's always good to get them to the racing tempo and having a look around. 'Cause he did do a few things wrong on Saturday. I'm sure he'll be much better for the experience.
I was just going to pose the question what Craig Williams said to you, because just watching it live, it sensed like he was getting around. He won the race, but he's got so much natural improvement just with a Melbourne run.
Yeah, exactly. And he was actually quite surprised too when he came in. He said, the horse is actually quite a nice little blow. This horse is just going to improve so much heading into the next run. And he said he was chopping and changing his legs, coming out of the barriers a few times. So, yeah, he thinks, it's going to come on a lot for it. But, yeah, the horse, he's still got a bit of a wintry coat on him. And I took a photo and sent it through to Annabelle of him this morning. He just seems to have improved so much with the run. And himself, he looks bright and well, so we're pretty wrapped.
I know you went to the beach yesterday. Is that norm what would happen in Sydney?
Yeah, exactly. We head down there quite a lot, especially on Wednesdays after a big gallop on Tuesday, big day of galloping, and then quite often on Sundays too. And when we have a team of runners in, we'll head down there. So it's great for them, both horse and human. Really, it's lovely to get them out in the water, and the horses seem to really love it. And couldn't ask for a better way to help them recover from a big run.
Would you like to take Zaki to Caulfield, for, say, that Tuesday before the Might and Power, the Caulfield Stakes?
Yeah, I believe that will be the plan. It'll be nice to give him a good little look around. So obviously it's a bit of a tricky track. It's probably, in a way, it probably is more tricky than Moonee Valley. At least you've got the camber there. So, you're always nervous how the horse can get beat, and you wonder if that could be his undoing his next start. But he's obviously, such a good racehorse. He finds ways to win and stuff. And usually you've got all these negative ideas built up on your head, and then as soon as he goes past the winning post, you sort of think, geez, I can't believe I even thought that.
Yeah, exactly. I think we all get like that. Even if we're on the pump, we're going, oh, no, I don't know whether I've done the right thing here. But they always find a way, a good horse. You've had a little bit to do with him in Sydney, obviously, but coming through 14 days, mate, how did you find that getting out on Friday?
It was a tough 2 weeks, really. But, you get through it. It goes by pretty quickly, and, it's definitely worth it. When you've got a horse like Zaki coming down, it's not just coming down for a benchmark race or anything like that. So, we got through it pretty easy, myself and Raphael, and we didn't. There wasn't any fist fights or anything, so it was okay.
No, that's the main thing. And is there the prospect? I know Mo'unga is more likely running in the Epsom this week, but is there the chance that you're now here, Todd, that maybe Annabelle will send others down?
There's definitely the chance. We will nominate Mo'unga for the Turnbull Stakes this weekend as well. I presume, have a look at both and possibly accept for both and weigh it up. You never know, bad draws and everything in Sydney could end up down here. With the preference is definitely to head to the Epsom, just in terms of his next run's likely to be the Golden Eagle, and she likes the idea of keeping him to a mile and then bringing him back to 1,500. But in terms of other horses, Wisdom of Water, he comes back into stable today here at Flemington, so it'll be nice to have a second horse. It was a little bit disappointing last start. We wondered he ran well first up against some nice horses like Portland Sky and the Inferno, and we were originally looking to wait to give him 4 weeks between runs, so we brought him back to Sydney, and we actually ended up nominating him for a race 2 weeks later, and the way it played out, the second up run, the field actually looked a lot softer, and we decided to roll the dice and have a go there, but he probably raced a little bit flat, just a fortnight between runs, between his first and second up run, and the float trip back to Sydney and then back to Melbourne again, may have just caused him to run a little bit under par. So he had a week in the paddock, and he's back in now, and he goes to the Caulfield Village Stakes on the 9th of October, and then so hopefully we see an improvement there. But hopefully we might see another horse or two come down. Horses like Ashima, she's a nice 3-year-old filly, ran well first up the other day, and possibly we'll see after the weekend. We could even get a 2-year-old down here too after the weekend's runners.
Yeah, exactly, with the Jim Crack and the Breeders to be run there on Saturday at Randwick. Todd, I know you've come across to join Annabelle Neeshams from working over in New Zealand with Stephen Marsh, so it's a great experience for you coming over and now teaming up with a horse like Zaki. Keep well in Melbourne, and we'll chat again for sure.
Yep, thank you very much for that, Andrew. Talk to you later.
Good on you. Todd Pollard joining us, assistant trainer for the Annabelle Neesham stable. And I welcome in on a Monday at this time Greg Carpenter from Racing Victoria. And Greg, we're just so excited to see Zaki, and just listening to Todd there, just how much improvement will come from just having that Melbourne run.
Morning, Andrew. I think it's exciting to hear that. And just on Todd, he went through a bit of a journey himself to get down here through hotel quarantine. It was great that he was able to be there on Saturday for Zaki's very impressive win in the Underwood Stakes. It was interesting listening to the pre-race interview with Annabelle. She said her information from Europe was that he would actually go better turning left-handed. So still plenty more of improvement to come, and it looks as though he's going to be very effective in the Melbourne way going. So can't wait to see him run in the might and power of the old Caulfield Stakes in a couple of weeks' time.
Probable goes that way, talking with Jamie Richards this morning. It's going to be another test. Todd says, I get myself wound up. Good horses, though, they just come out and keep winning.
Well, certainly, and it's encouraging that Probabeel is heading. I wasn't quite sure where they would go after Saturday. She certainly got that run along the inside and looked as though she was going to get closer to Zaki, but he did have something up his sleeve at the end of the race. So good that Probabeel's going to keep going forward. It's, Zaki, he's just been a revelation since he came out from Europe. So exciting looking at him with those big margin wins in Queensland, and he's returned in terrific form. And as Todd and everyone's saying, hopefully will improve further. But it was a great weekend, a long weekend of racing from the Valley to Sandown. Great to see Group 1 racing back at that track. And then a big day yesterday, of course, at Benalla in Mornington. It was fantastic racing.
It was. We'll focus in on the Valley in just a tick, but Elephant is one that just continues to say, hey, I'm here and I'm enjoying myself. And now the Toorak looks ominous, talking with David Brown again this morning, the way that the 5-year-olds come through. He's made just a steep rise coming here, hasn't he?
He certainly has, and it's you don't see this very often. An older horse, he's a 5-year-old who, when he had got to Melbourne, had only had 4 starts, won them all, of course, but in restricted company in New Zealand. He came with a big boom on him, and he certainly lived up to that, winning that race at Caulfield back in the middle of August, stepping up and chasing home Superstorm in the Fian, and now winning the Sandown Stakes. I think it's going to be a really strong renewal of the Toorak this year. You probably know better where our top weight's looking, what they're going to do with Behemoth.
Gone to the paddock?
All right, so it's going to be probably a higher scale than some would have anticipated, but Elephant's just meeting every hurdle that's put in front of him. So I think he will be another one like Zaki that will actually keep improving. Yeah. As I said, he's a 5-year-old, but he's only had the 7 runs, and He's just been so impressive, and he was again on Saturday. I know Romance has been well exposed and chased hard, but Elephant seemed to win that race with something in reserve.
Yeah, you just love the way that they put their head on the chopping block and they've come across an Elephant is absolutely standing tall for David, who's starting to get used to it all. Let's go back to Friday night, start of night racing for the season. And, well, we could end up with the first three in the Moir. We'll all get spots in the Everest. That tells us just how strong this race will be.
Well, of course, Trekking, who ran second in the Moir last year, went back to Sydney and ran fourth in the Everest, so he ran really well in it. And Wild Ruler, great to see Peter and Paul Snowden win a Group 1 race with this 4-year-old. He's won twice before at Group 2 company in Roman Consul and the Arrowfield, so he's a high-quality young sprinter. His first up run behind Nature Strip and the Concord was very good, and he got that Group 1 victory on Saturday, so he'll run well for his connections in the Everest. The Inferno, Cliff Brown, this horse was outstanding in Singapore, and he's running very well here in Australia. And as I said, Trekking was not far off them last year finished top 4 in the Everest last year. So all three are first-class sprinters. It was a strong renewal of the Moir. And let's hope the three of them can, if they go to the Everest together, all attack and run top 5 up there.
We know the first two are there. It's just a case of what Godolphin decide. I think they're certainly leaning Trekking's way. Watching the stud on Friday night, I didn't know where to sort of think of approaching the home turn because suddenly Forgot You was seemingly right under the pump, and then I didn't know what was going to stand up, and then suddenly Forgot You just found a gear. It's got that patch where it just loses its way, doesn't it?
It does, but he just, he's won his last couple. Mr. Mozart was very good before that, and Daily Bugle's a black type 3-year-old as well. It's really interesting where they go with Forgot You. Wouldn't it be funny if we saw a 3-year-old run in the Melbourne Cup? Trent Sutton, this 3-year-old son of Savabeel, he's winning races along the way, but I think he's certainly looking at the Derby and a window of opportunity this year, maybe for a 3-year-old in a Melbourne Cup. A long way to go, but he is nominated for the Melbourne Cup, so I'd obviously thought about his staying ability, but he's winning good races up to a mile on the way through. And you're right, he really lifted on Friday night and won when you probably didn't think he was going to. He's doing a great job for them. So I think they continue to head towards the Derby with Forgot You. Mr. Mozart, very competitive again. And I presume he'll probably go to a Caulfield Guinea. So it was a really good win for Forgot You, and they've got some lofty ambitions for him in this preparation.
They do. Certainly the Caulfield Guineas will be next. Talking with Trent this morning. The horses come through well, so Caulfield Guineas, they'll go there and then they'll map it out after that. But it would be intriguing for a 3-year-old to be back in a Melbourne Cup. You mentioned yesterday, Lunar Flare got the job done in the Ansett Classic at Mornington. Greg, it's one horse that, Graham Begg, he's always got horses that race at the good level, hasn't he? And we know just how strong Nonconformist is going.
Yeah, absolutely. We mentioned Romancer running so well behind the Elephant.
Yeah.
So he's got a really good team. Luna Flair, she was originally nominated for the Cups, but they've lowered their ambitions after the race. Graham was talking at a race like the Bendigo Cup. And this is the thing, Andrew. Everyone gets very focused on trying to get in to the Caulfield and Melbourne Cups, but there is lots of good races around those Group 1 features with great prize money. The Bendigo Cup, $400,000. So did a great job winning that Ansett Classic yesterday. I'd have to say there was another stayer who won early in the day in Herman Hess, who looked very impressive. And Kieran Maher and David Eustace trotted out Floating Artist again at Sandown on Saturday. They won with Herman Hess yesterday. They've got a lovely team of ex-European stayers coming through that are going to target easier races and maybe some country cups. And the other feature race yesterday at Benalla was, of course, Starcaster, who led by a bit of a space, was headed early in the straight and fought back and won the race. So that was a good result. I know the connections were disappointed when the races were postponed on Friday, but great to see everyone got back to the track yesterday, and it was a really good day of racing. And just backtracking a little bit, Andrew, we mentioned Daniel Moore winning a Group 1 the previous week, and he was terrific on Friday night at the Valley with Forgot You and also Wild Ruler. So Daniel Moore was really, really shining at this part of the spring, and no doubt he's going to continue to pick up good rides as we head to the main feast of the spring over the next 4 or 5 weeks.
Finally, Greg, this morning noms will come out just after midday Melbourne time for Flemington. We know the Bart Cummings, you can nearly run 2 of them, I reckon, by the time we get to seeing them. But the Turnbull, the Stars are going to be there. Incentivise has galloped at Caulfield this morning. But Sir Dragonette, Young Worthy, Explosive Jack, Collette's going to be in the race, and we'll wait and see what they do with Very Elegant.
Well, we wait and see what they do with Very Elegant. Can you give us an update, Andrew, on Mo'unga? Because
yes,
so good behind Incentivise and the Mackay Diva. He's actually entered for the Turnbull. Do we know where he may go?
Yeah, look, their preference is to run in the Epsom at a mile with the Golden Eagle after that. But they've put Mo'unga in with a bit of rain forecast in Sydney. So they've just kept their options, but certainly the Epsom is their number one.
And without question, even if he does, he's got 56.5 in the Epsom, I think, so he's well placed there in a Group 1 mile handicap. But you're right, it's an outstanding race. The 4-year-olds hopefully now getting out over a bit of ground in Explosive Jack and Johnny Get Angry. Look forward to seeing how they go, but certainly Sir Dragonette and Incentivise and a number of others, and hopefully Very Elliot's just going to be a great contest in the Turnbull. And you're right. The bar's going to be pretty high for that 16th spot in the Bart Cummings. It's going to be very competitive. Everyone wants that golden ticket into the Melbourne Cup. So a great day at Flemington ahead of us on Saturday. Yeah. And the other race, of course, is the Rose of Kingston. Continue with this $1 million bonus for these mares races if they can win the Rose of Kingston, and then into the Empire Rose on Derby Day. And you've got Mystic Journey, Still a Star, Instant Celebrity, and got a nom now for Sierra Sue, so it'd be interesting to see where they run.
All right, that's interesting. I'll have to go back to Trent on that one. Hey, Greg, we got to move on, mate. Thanks for your time on a Monday.
Always a pleasure. Hope everyone enjoys their week.
Greg Carpenter, Executive General Manager of Racing at Racing Victoria. Back in a moment with Chris Nelson. Chris Nelson now joins us. We had night racing back. We had Toowoomba on Saturday. Chris, launched straight into your horses to follow, mate.
Well, it was a big day at Toowoomba on Saturday, of course, Andrew. Now, a couple to follow. Race number 4 out of Toowoomba on Saturday, and this was, of course, won by... no, it's the wrong race. Race number 3 was won by Kira Lass. Lyrical Girl was a little bit disappointing, but the horse that I'm going to follow here is Moto Miss from the Lindsay Hatch stable. Now, she missed a start by a couple of lengths, probably by design, because drew a wide gate. Third last at the 700, probably 7 lengths off them at the top of the straight. Ran on very well. Now, sectionally, for all the number crunchers out there, 22.74 for the last 400. Only run at a break 23 seconds for the entire meeting, and 11.62 home, which was the fastest last 200 of the entire meeting. So Moto Miss, a very good run in race 3 at Toowoomba on Saturday. And in the Wheatwood, Flash Art. Now, this is a horse that is so versatile, trained by Matt Crop, $26, wasn't fancied. First up, won over 1,000 metres a few starts back, and then came out and ran 30 in the Ipswich Cup over 2,150. So I like the run there on Saturday. Really found the line as he normally does. He was only beaten 2.1 lengths, and he was giving them a big start. So he might be in for a good campaign, Flash R. So Moto Miss and Flash R out of Toowoomba on Saturday.
And mine, you know, I always try and spot one. I saw one of the most impressive wins ever on Friday night at the Sunshine Coast on a horse called Vital Source, trained by Chris Muntz. It was only a maiden. It was only 1,200. But this horse, I reckon, with time, has just matured into a nice horse.
Yeah, it had to catch your eye because it was a long way back in the field. And I thought myself, oh, gee, I hope he hasn't drifted too far back here with Larry Cassidy Road. But, gee, didn't it let down and find the line? It just powered away from them. So I couldn't agree with you more, Andrew.
Yeah, I spoke to Chris Muntz yesterday. He said, nice mare, but just been fractionally slow to mature. But they won't rush. They'll just go through the grades and take it from there. And the other news from a Queensland point of view, Rob Heathcote's confirmed they're going to pay the late entry for Star Tontes to line up again in the Flight Stakes this week.
Yeah, well, she was good. I mean, she was a long way back there in the Golden Rose, but her sectionals home was strong to the eye. She was good running on, so why not have a crack? You only get one chance at it.
Yep, and she obviously has come through well. So Rob Heathcote confirming the filly Star Tontes will line up this week in the Flight Stakes. Chris, thanks for your time. Motor Mess and Flash Art, the two horses to follow. We'll talk to you during the week.
Look forward to it. Thanks, Andrew.
Chris Nelson with his wash-up from Queensland Racing over the weekend. Willie Pike, what about him on Saturday in Perth? We'll talk more about him through the next half an hour. And also, Glenn Schofield and Terry Robinson, the trainer of Art Cadeau, on the way to the Kosciuszko, as barrier trialled about half an hour ago. It's all ahead on Bensley for Pasload. Yes, we're here for another half hour with all our news. Looking forward to talking with Tassie and New Zealand racing coming up. I mentioned just prior to our news break that Star Tontes will be a late entry into the Flight Stakes. Well, Rob Heathcote has just let me know that Sam Clipperton will take the ride on Saturday on Star Tontes. No fault of Regan Bayliss. Regan, not knowing that Star Tontes would be backing up, they've taken another ride for the Gay Waterhouse Adrian Bott stable, and Sam Clipperton is sitting there without a ride. So Rob Heathcote just letting me know Sam Clipperton will ride Star Tontes in the Flight Stakes after they've decided again to pay the late entry. And look, no fault of anybody's. The track on Saturday got a bit firm in the end by all reports. The horses, though, out wide and well back, they just couldn't quite catch the leaders, tempo related in a few of them. But certainly Star Tontes was one that finished off nicely there on Saturday, one of the fillies in the Golden Rose. So Sam Clipperton to take the ride on the weekend. As I say, Tassie and New Zealand racing to come. Just checking some other news. Apache Chase, who won the Wheatwood, is likely to go to a listed race at Eagle Farm on Saturday week, the 9th of October. It's a 1,400-metre race for Apache Chase, so everything's going to plan there since winning the Wheatwood. And Duas, speaking with Ed Cummings this morning, they're likely to go to the Hill Stakes on Saturday. They'll keep an eye on the weather. Their options may include a Melbourne entry just in case. Hugh Bowman will certainly take the ride there on Saturday with Duas on the weekend if they go to the Hill Stakes. And Curran, who came back to racing for Lynn Tolson and Leonie Proctor on Friday night. They're going to have 3 weeks between runs. The ever-consistent Curran is most likely going to the Caulfield Sprint. They'll throw in an entry and wait and see what unfolds. As we told you just over half an hour ago, one of the favourites for the Kosciuszko, Art Cadeau, went through a barrier trial. Terry Robinson, the trainer, has made the journey from the South Coast. Morning to you, Terry.
Morning, Andrew.
Is watching it made everything seem to go to plan?
It did. Andrew could not be happier with him. He jumped like he normally does. Very good trial. It was a good quality heat. Tommy said he just dropped a bit come of the turn. He just gave him one little tap, and he did it himself up the straight, which was great. And he was really happy with him, Tom. But he feels better than last trip, which is nice to hear. Obviously, coming back this time, it is a step up in class, going straight to open company. So that's what we would like to hear, and I'm really pleased with him.
That's the main thing. Tommy obviously knows the horse. He's built a relationship with him, but that's what you want to hear. Just things are improved with the horse.
Exactly, and he's on track at this stage. He's where we want him to be at this stage, Andrew, so I'm really happy with the horse.
I was just going to pose the question. It's been very much a long-term plan to run first up in the race, and maybe Victorium's going in there first up as well. So you can plan it this way, and you've done that.
I have, Andrew. I just feel that the horse, he's never won a race by a big space. He's just a great racehorse. He's certainly got the ability, obviously, but he's not as sharp as maybe over 1,200 what some of the other horses might be. And I think keeping the horse fresh going into first up has been his best chance of competing and being very competitive in the race.
And it's a trip away from the South Coast to Hawkesbury. I know you've got freeways, but that'll get the adrenaline pumping as well.
It did. He got pretty nervous up here today, which he can get a little bit nervous and sweat it up a bit. But having a run up here 2.25 hours, so it's basically a trip to the races, like going to Ramley. yeah, I'm looking forward to the race. You know, he's had 2 runs at Randwick, 2 wins, so the track, you know, he seems to like, handled all conditions, so, you know, there's a lot to look forward to, I think, Andrew.
There is. What do you do now after this morning and the way that he's pulled up? His fitness levels are obviously very good. Do you just tick him quietly now?
Yeah, well, look, you'll probably have one good hit out he can. We find he is a good winder's horse, a good athlete, so look, he'll let us know what he needs. It depends how he does, obviously, and we'll just see what happens.
And you're right there with the trial. I mean, Trumbull put in some good pace out in front. There was Aim and Rohiran that were finishing off. So you get good level out of that.
Exactly, Andrew, and that's you know, very pleasing. It's better than having a trial down home where you might find that quality. So to have him be very competitive in a trial like that is where we want him to be.
Good on you, Terry. I thank you for taking our call straight away virtually. I know it sounds like you're back in the truck and the 2.5 hours trip home. Take it easy and thanks for joining us.
No worries, Andrew. Take care, mate.
Terry Robinson joining us there after the trial of Art Cadeau, and you can watch it on the Racing New South Wales webpage, racingnsw.com.au. They're at the trials, but not taking part in Trial 5 is Glenn Schofield. Glenn, we spoke to last week. He's come back now with 2 winners. Well done on those, Glenn.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Nice to have me on again. And, couldn't really have wanted a better start, really, with the winner so early in the week and then, of course, again on the weekend.
Well, particularly in town, to win a race like that, I know you've been doing a lot of preparation to come back through the Chris Waller stable, so extra satisfaction with Yonkers.
There is, of course, a lot of work's been put in by myself and, Chris and the trainers out at Rose Hill. They've been very accommodating, letting me ride track work and help me get my fitness back. And, of course, Chris has been able to give me a nice winner in a Group 2 in the Shannon on Saturday.
How was the experience when you knew victory was yours passing the winning post? How was the feeling those first couple of wins back?
Oh, look, the first one was, you always want to get the first one out of the way. Look, I haven't had an extended period of time off like that for many, many years, other than through injury. So it's nice to be able to, you always want your first one to come quicker rather than later. And fortunately that happened. And I was very happy, very relieved. And then, of course, you put that behind you and you've got to pick up and go again. So lucky enough to get another winner on the weekend.
Crystal Waters being the first at Hawkesbury for Paul Murray and then and Yonkers. Has the jockeys' room changed much? We understand that the jockeys are spread far and wide there with everyone looking after their own COVID restrictions.
Yeah, we all sort of segregated in little groups, obviously just trying to isolate everybody in certain little groups. They've got their protocols, the stewards and the Racing New South Wales, so everybody's doing the best we can to try and keep the show on the road. And, there's been a couple of scares lately, but hopefully that's all they are.
Let's hope they are just little hiccups along the road and that we can get back to normality. But I think the one good thing on Saturday was the industry just showing everyone that we can race at Rose Hill. It's a track that we've missed.
Yeah, absolutely. The track obviously hasn't had much racing for a little while, but served up a beautiful Group 1 meeting on Saturday.
Glenn, I will say, I know it was for the Chris Waller stable and it was ridden by Nash Rawiller, but sitting inside the jockeys' room and watching the racing unfolding, the win of Home Affair seemed to be really strong.
Yeah, he was. I'd done a little bit with him prior to that, trialled him, I think his last trial, and he was quite impressive. So not surprising from my perspective to see him performing like that. Obviously, big weight, was right on the speed and just was too strong for them.
Yeah, it was. It was a strong win. I know rides this morning at the Hawkesbury trials, they continue, and maybe a Metrop ride come Saturday.
Yeah, obviously there's a couple of nice races on the weekend. Obviously, riding a couple of winners certainly helps along those lines. Obviously, I think there's a lot to sort of finalise from jockey bookings in the races. So, the race is just upon us now, so hoping to get a good result for the weekend too.
And one final one. What about Liverpool? That game on the weekend, 3-3 draw.
Yeah, Brentford's a surprise package so far in the Premier League, but they beat Arsenal, I think 2-0 the first game. They've had a good start, but I think our defence let us down without doubt. But anyway, that's sport, That's why there's so many variables, and it was a good game to watch. Disappointing not to get the win, but at least we're still unbeaten, the only team in the Premier League unbeaten.
Yeah, you're holding top spot at the moment. Glenn, well done with success, Hawkesbury, and again on Saturday. Hope it continues with hard work.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks very much, mate.
Glenn Schofield joining us, a part of our Monday morning reflections. We're going to talk about Tassie racing and New Zealand racing in a moment, but also Willie Pike. What about him? He made the decision not to come to Melbourne, do quarantine, all that sort of stuff. But there he was on Saturday at Belmont, 6 winners, and none of them for Bob Peters. He only had one runner on the day, so that's amazingly how things were for Willie. You could have got $50 on him to ride the 6. Willie Pike, 6 winners, and none of us were on it. And one for Bob Peters. Well done to you, Willie, listening to us on SEN Track in Perth. Yeah, all good on my front. And Devonport, no surprise, the combination of, trainer and jockey stood out there yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, the meeting at Devonport on Sunday concluded a stretch where 8 of the first 9 meetings to start the season have been in Devonport. Adam Trinder only took one runner to the races. That was Tassie Miss, who won a maiden Class 1. But it's worth mentioning just the sensational start to the new season that Adam Trinder and his apprentice, Erica Byrne-Burke, have had. Adam leads the Trainers' Premiership. He's got 11 winners from just 30 starters at 37% so far in this season. And Erica Byrne-Burke, who, bear in mind, only started riding in Tassie back in May as a 4-kilogram claimer. She's got 15 winners, which is more than double that of any other jockey, and she's striking at 27%. So we head to Launceston next to start the night racing season on the 6th of October, and just to further illustrate, I guess, Erica Byrne-Burke's relative inexperience, she hasn't even had a ride at that track before, so it'll be interesting to see whether she can keep her run going.
Yeah, no, it's a great story. We spoke to her there a few weeks ago here on our Monday show. What happened in harness racing?
Well, it was feature harness racing at the Devonport Showgrounds last night, a pair of Group 2 size stakes races. If you had a quaddie there last night and you didn't get it, you might need to have a good look in the mirror. I think it paid about $14. The first 3 quaddie legs, all won by horses that were less than $1.50. The Granny Smith, the first of the Group 2s, went to Blame It On Me. It looked her race. But a good story there, Nat Emery, who was the first female driver to win that race. So a bit of history made. I think she went around about $1.20. And then Ricky Duggan, who had a treble on the night, won his 30th size stakes race when Watch My Lips won the Group 2 Raiders Stakes. Smashed into $1.35 was Watch My Lips. I think there were a few all-ups rolling through that horse by the time Blame It On Me and Sunny Sands had won the previous 2 races. But, yeah, really good night there in Devonport, and one where bookies were on their knees looking at the prices of the winners.
Steve King Ladies Bracelet tonight, and a part of tasracing.com.au's the Form Plus Pro meetings.
Yeah, absolutely. So we look to identify one feature meeting each week across all 3 codes. And for Launceston tonight, it is the Greyhounds, their usual Monday night time slot. The first of 10 races there is at 7:33 local time. As you said, Andrew, the Steve King Ladies Bracelet is the feature there, but a Form Plus Pro plan meeting, which means that account holders can access assessed prices and runner comments from our expert Mike Clark for free. They'll be on the Tas Racing website from around 1 p.m. today. So just head to the website, all the assessed prices, all the comments, all of Mike's thoughts on all the races, and you can obviously overlay them with the overs and things like that, or use them how you like, but every opportunity to find a winner there in Launceston tonight.
Go to tasracing.com.au for Form Plus Pro. Register once, it's free, and it's there waiting for you. Good on you, Matt. We'll talk to you during the week.
Thanks, Andrew.
Matt Reid from tasracing.com.au. Butch Castles joins us from loveracing.nz, and we had some heavy tracks to deal with, Butch.
Yeah, we did, Andrew. The rains came across New Zealand last week, and upwards of 60 or 70 mils in the north, and look, the the fields were decimated with scratchings, particularly at Matamata on Saturday. Not so much Awapuni, so that was great, but certainly Matamata and again yesterday at Tauranga. So those horses waiting in the wings, and there's going to be some pretty big nominations in the next week or so.
There was a Group 3, though, a horse that our audience here in Australia will certainly know.
Yeah, formerly trained by the great Wapadoo there, John Sargent, House of Cartier, now with Peter Diddham at Awapuni, back with breeders at Wellfield Lodge. And look, she did a great job. She really rattled home the last bit, picked up Bowden, who was giving her 7.5 kilos. So he had an amazing record at Awapuni, Bowden, but he couldn't quite make it 9 wins from 11 starts with House of Cartier running him down late. Look, she'll be in the mix for the next, certainly the third day at Hawke's Bay, the Livermore Classic, you would think. Based on that, I mean, anything she can do black type wise now will be a bonus for her from a breeding point of view. She's out of an exceptionally good race mare. She's Sensational, who won plenty of group races, including the Group 1 Auckland Cup in her year. So, look, a valuable broodmare proposition, and she certainly franked that with winning on Saturday.
Butch, we had a Turn Me Loose debut at Sandown that ran a beauty pre-to-turn on Saturday for Matt Brown. You had one as a 2-year-old there on the weekend.
Yeah, that's right. They're going well, aren't they? I saw that 2-year-old over there debuting in a strong 3-year-old race. So obviously plenty of an opinion of that one. But yes, a 2-year-old, Wessex, this one was called, trained by Murray Baker and Andrew Forsman. Of course, they know plenty about the Turn Me Loose progeny, having trained him through his illustrious career. And Wessex was good and tough under urgings to get the job done at Matamata on debut. And look, plenty liking the way that Turn Me Loose is doing his job, not necessarily to be precocious 2-year-olds, but certainly throwing some 2-year-olds as well. So that's a good sign going forward.
Butch, we know that you're on the move. We know that loveracing.nz's on the move as well. We've got a terrific feature race coming up this Saturday. I hope that forecast is going to be okay.
Yeah, I think so. Windsor Park Plate, looking forward to it. Second day at Hawke's Bay. Forecast having a look is good. I think they'll produce one of the tracks Hawke's Bay are renowned for. Should be an ideal dead surface. We're racing here at Te Rapa on Friday with the Northern equivalent Saturday meeting, so looking forward to that as well. Okay, looking at the Bet365 market, Call Sign Mavs the favourite over Catalyst. Predefers in the race, Harlech, so we'll wait and see how that unfolds over the next couple of days. Butch, keep yourself safe, and we'll talk again during the week. Thanks, Ben. And Butch Castle's there from loveracing.nz. He'll be back Friday morning, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time for his breakfast with the Kiwis and the big race coming up this weekend, the Windsor Park Plate. Wanted to congratulate our Harvey Norman winner from Saturday, Brett from Melton in Victoria. He tipped us Esther La Rocca to win the first race at Sandown, and thankfully for a lot of us that were on it, for Lloyd Kinnewell, they got the money. So, Brett, will be in contact with you. You won the Harvey Norman voucher for this week, and we'll do it again on Saturday. Don't forget to podcast Bensley SEN track. There's lots of interviews from the morning that are there, not only looking towards Swan Hill today. Lee Jordan joined us from Racing Victoria. We also spoke with a cavalcade of winners and people that have done well over the weekend from way back on Thursday and Friday. So that podcast page, Bensley SEN track. And a Tuesday, of course. We'll have all the track work news on a Tuesday. Gee, I can't wait. Goodbye, Perth. Hope it's a good day. Ah, yes, the Pasload. They've been reliable since 1986, even before then. And as I've told you through this morning, we've got out there on the weekend. The fence is being painted, so I was ordered out there to assist. And the Pasload nails, they were being hammered in. And we thank them for being a part of the Bensley program through the SEN Spring. Very shortly, our early crow will look at today's racing. That'll be about half an hour away from our banter. Levi and Mark Kavanagh, father-son, had success for the first time on Friday night as a training partnership. We'll talk to Levi about that and lots of other news to come through, repeating that Star Tonte's the filly for Rob Heathcote. They have decided to pay the late entry fee to run this Saturday in the Flight Stakes. Sam Clipperton
will take the ride. No issue with Regan Bayliss. Regan had already taken another ride in the flight for Gabe Waterhouse and Adrian Bott. So that's the story there. Sam Clipperton takes the ride. All those fields out tomorrow, the Epsom, the Metropolitan and also the Flight Stakes.
Across SEN Track, it's time to hear from the leading tipsters across chasing, pacing and racing with the Early Crow.
Yes, love this time of the morning, presenting all the winners for those 3 racing codes. Let's go straight to Neil Evans at Racing New South Wales. Morning to you, Neilo.
Yes, morning, Ben. How you doing, mate?
Very well indeed. Couple of
Good
meetings today, and Tamworth, of course, the big focus meeting.
It is a big focus, yeah, and rightly so. This 7 races only, but the Spring Cup's the feature, and this is a really, really high-class race, race 6, and you'll see a few that really springboard off. You would think good runs in this race and go on to bigger ones and even maybe sneak a Kosciuszko berth late. So form analysts should really look at this race. It's a good one, and there's plenty of other sort of competitive mid to high benchmark racing around it. So certainly a strong Monday card for the club.
It is, and Edit being one of those horses for Cody Morgan that would be in the mix. I know Troy O'Neill's hopeful of Cassie's sister might, get one of these last 2 slots available. But Rod Northam reminded us in that last at Bathurst yesterday, hey, don't forget my horse, Sporanic.
Yes, I'm sure he did. And, mate, you'll be getting a lot of reminders up until they jump in the Cosy, because they all want to slide in late. And there's plenty that are peaking. You mentioned, of course, Edit, ex-Kiwi for Cody. We've got a Visionary, a big trialer for Sam Kavanagh. And My Vanilla, a very exciting horse. It's great to see it back for Sue Grills. And Troy O'Neill, yes, Cassie's sister, a bit of an iron mare she is for the followers and punters up around those parts. So a really good race. And they've all got that Cosy in the back of their mind for sure.
They have. All right, we'll look at that when we get to the quaddie. So where do we go for the best?
Hey, we're going to start in race 3, which is a Class 2 handicap over 1,200 metres. I'm really keen on 4 Boom Boom Basil for the Nesta stable here, second up. I think this is an ideal race. I don't think it's an overly strong Class 2. Worked home late behind Very Sharp, who's a pretty handy galloper, speaking of Rod Northam. That race was run in record time, so I think that's a lovely little first-up run into this, and I think it's probably one of the better value bets all day. Race 3, number 4, Boom Boom Basil.
Right now, $3.20 ahead of Piermont at $3.60 at this stage in the third. Where's your second one?
Second one's a bit shorter and a bit tighter. I'm going to stick. It's probably getting towards rock bottom now. Race 5, number 2, Viscaral, in a Class 1, 1,400 metres. It will get the lovely run from the inside gate. There's a few scratchings here and probably support since the early preview, so it's toppling down. But it might sort of level out and come back. But I don't think this is overly strong. And with the run, it loomed up to win at Coffs and just could not drag itself past the leader in that race. But I think now after 4 runs, right at the top fitness-wise, and I think it should be winning. Race 5, number 2, Viscaral.
Yeah, right now, $2 at Bet365. We might hold on to that and see what happens over the next few hours.
Sure, yep.
Righto, so race 3, number 4, and race 5, number 2. That'll help us, though, with the quaddie. So the first leg today is race 4.
It is race 4, yes, a benchmark 58, 1,600 metres. Always tactical, these sort of races. It's fairly open. I think Ollivander is the clear value in the race, again from the inside draw. It's got the weight, but it's a fit, hard horse. And Clayton Gallagher rides. I'm a fan of Gallagher. I think he's got a good strike rate around the parts out there. And I think it's still over the odds at the moment. So 3's the on topper there in the quaddie. We also include a couple out in the market. 11, Forever Jude. For Tim McIntosh, third up goes in. Also 12, Gold Luna, Rod Northam. Each way chance fourth up, but certainly a shade over the odds. And back up the top there, one more choice for that man, Troy O'Neill, who is having a good run at the moment, a last start winner. So competitive race 4, 3, 11, 12 and 1. Then we go to race 5 in the quaddie, mate. Class 1, 1,400 metres. Viscaral, the one to beat, as I said. The only other one I want to put in is number 5, Zuflu. That's a sort of progressive horse. This is well capable of winning this fourth up. So I think the winner comes out of those 2 ahead of 5. Then we go to race 6, Spring Cup. Good race, 1,200 metre feature. Massive fan of My Benella, number 7, Ben's. That terrific win first up off a near 20-month break when it came back at Scone. I know Sue Grills has got everything crossed that this horse that did have a lot of tendon trouble will hold together. And it just, you can remember back in its 3-4-year-old days when it burst onto the scene. Big finisher. It's on top for me. Getting pretty short now, but it's on top for me, 7. The other 2 to include are those 2 imports. 6 Edit for Cody Morgan. You mentioned that. An ex-Kiwi who's been gelded first up off a long break. And also Vicinari. Strong UK form, first up for Sam Kavanagh, also gelded in that long break. So feature race of the day for the quaddie, 7, also with 6 Edit and 3 Vicinari. And in the last bends, we bring it home, race 7, Class 3 over the flying 1,000 metres, a real competitive sprint. I think the value's 10, Mr. Vinci for the GMAC. It won a weaker race second up, but capable of being very competitive in this grade, and I think it'll give a massive sided odds. Number 10. The other 2 to include 1 Tango Steps, gets the soft draw and a claim, and we know it's a pretty useful weight carrier. Tango Steps will be right there. And the other one is 5 Witness Collector, drawn out, but has more than enough ability in this class. So in the quaddie to bring us home, mate, 10, 1 and 5.
Okay, so running through the Tamworth information, the best from Neil, race 3, number 4, into race 5, number 2. The legs of the quaddie, the 4th, 3, 11, 12 and 1, race 5, 2 and 5, race 6, 7, 6 and 3, and race 7, 10, 1 and 5. That's for Tamworth today, and Neil, we'll chat again tomorrow.
Yes, we will, mate, for sure. Good luck to everyone. Always good when we can roll out of the blocks on a Monday, so let's hope we can bring home plenty.
Yeah, Grafton tomorrow to look at. Thanks a lot, Neil. Neil Evans joining us from Racing New South Wales, and you can check out more, of course, by going to that website. Swan Hill Racing in Victoria today. Fine and a good track there. First at 1 o'clock local time. Peter Ellis, good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. How are you?
Very well indeed. And nice weather there. This track normally, I know there was some criticism, when was it, earlier this year when it got firmed up, but normally it races pretty good with that long straight.
Yeah, well, it's a new surface. It's 23 degrees there today. Be a nice place to be. They put 23 mil of irrigation on for the week, so should expect a perfect surface. And you're part of that meeting when there was a bit of a hiccup. I think everything's been pretty good.
Yep, for sure. All right, your best bet comes up in the second last, Northern Aero, number 1.
In race 7, third last, Andrew.
Third last,
yeah. It's we're not going to quibble about which race, as long as it wins. That's the main thing. Yeah, he's a handy favourite. I've got Pullman better races around the Albury area and Wang, and has been to Adelaide. Went to Morphville and was a little bit stiff there. Got a mile back, flew home when second. So 1 run back from a break, was back and wide there when 4th over the 1,000 and Wang. Drawn barrier 1 here. He'll race a lot closer over the 975. So I think he's a better than race 7, number 1, Northern Aero.
$3.10 right now at Bet365. So that's that race. All right, legs of the quaddie on a 9 race card. I nearly got tricked there. So what about the first leg, race 6?
Yeah, these races always test me, these benchmark 58s, long distance races. I'm with Pebble Raider. It's certainly improving. It's been placed this last 3, winning at Tachira last start. Strong win over the 1980. It was placed at Bendigo 3 runs ago over the 2400. So back to the 2400s, not an issue. Petticoat Junction was okay, Sandown in the benchmark 70. Picked up late ground there behind Diaquin. And the Winter Bendigo was back and wide on that softies track. So back on a dry track, I think it'll be a plus. And Don't Make Me Wait. Got out to the longer trip at Tachira last start. Covered ground and was strong at the line, went 4th. Certainly be better for that run. So tough race, 5, 4 and 1.
Petticoat Junction there, $3.30, just 10 cents in front of the toppy. Northern Aero, as I say, $3.10 at Bet365. Under that at the moment, we've got $5 Red Peroni, number 5.
Yeah, the markets are pretty tight at the minute for the 4 legs of the quality. I'm with what's written as a danger. Very quick. He led clearly into the straight there in the race that Heavenly Bridges won. That was over the Carnival at Swan Hill. And run 5th, but that was a benchmark 78, so as you can see, pretty well placed here. And Red Peroni's best form's on good ground, which I got last start at Echuca, ran home powerfully, went second to Sequalis. So I'm with 1, 4 and 5.
1, 4 and 5 there. Third leg of the quaddie, honourable mentions the favourite, but it's a pretty open market, $4.20 at Bet365. The Wrangler is at $5.50. Saint Moritz is at $6.50. Invensatua is at 6, and Matash is at 6. There's a few in the market here, Pete, if we can get through this leg.
Yeah, it is a tough race. I'm with Investiture, Andrew, only lightly raced. Its form's been in SA with the McAvoys. Last run was in January. Was a pretty impressive winner there at Murray Bridge. Prior to that, at the same course, over the 1200, was an unlucky 6. So I've got it on top. Got honourable mention the Danger. Trained at Ballarat, but his first up run was in Adelaide. Got into a bit of trouble there when fifth to Point Blaze. That horse since run very well on the park circuit there on Saturday. It's got city form at his best, so certainly the Danger. And Matash, only a 3-year-old, was good at Bendigo in a strong 2-year-old race there in early June, and then went to Wang and at a big price was successful there. So first start in a good track, might even improve on that. And the Wrangler's probably the other chance, but he doesn't won a race for a long time. I'm 8, 1 and 10.
8, 1 and 10 there. The last race, we spoke with Andrew Bobbin, who trains Mount Madeira on our Victorian show. The only concern is just the draw. He hasn't put the blinkers on. He said to us multiple times in the interview, not saying the horse can't win today, but the blinkers will certainly assist. Buck and Hoax, the market $4.40. Mount Madeira is at $5, and Gaucho, the favourite, the leader, at $3.70.
Yeah, so I'm hoping there's enough pace on for Mount Madeira. Very good first up at Cassinan over an unsuitable 1400. 1600 suits. If you go back last prep, he was an unlucky 5th in the Strathalbyn Cup. That would certainly be good enough to win this. For Gaucho the Danger, they just say the leader. He got well clear in the straight, got nailed right on the pace there at Donald last start. It was only his second run back from a break, so he'll obviously be fitter. And one of the bit of odds, Battle Master, got back in a good track at Donald last start, ran home strongly. That was 1350. 1600 certainly suits. So another tough race to finish off, 3, 9 and 6.
So the best for Pete at Swan Hill, race 7, number 1, Northern Aero. The legs of the quaddie, race 6, 5, 4 and 1. Race 7, 1, 4 and 5. Race 8, 8, 1 and 10. And race 9, 3, 9 and 6. And the most unfair question to Peter Ellis on short notice is, what was the best story of the weekend for you, Pete?
Melbourne winning the grand final, I suppose, Andrew.
From a dour Collingwood supporter, speaks Peter with Melbourne. It was a great story.
Yeah, I remember when I was a young fella, I'm a Collingwood supporter. Most of my mates were Melbourne supporters because that was in the halcyon days of Melbourne in the 60s and early 70s, or late 60s particularly. Well, 64 they won their last leg, so it was great to see Melbourne back on top. And the way they won with all them young fellas, you think they're in for a pretty good 10 years. So, but there's encouragement for Collingwood, because I think, what did Melbourne finish 2 years ago, Andrew?
Second last? No, I was sitting at home watching it on Saturday night, and I'm thinking, I hope the Collingwood new coach has got the players watching this, because it'll show us just how quick we can turn things around. Anyway.
Well, there's no rules, is there? So if you can come from second last and win a flag in 2 years, well, we can certainly do that, that's for sure.
We live in hope. Good on you, people. Talk to you tomorrow.
Well, thanks, Andrew.
Thanks, mate. Peter Ellis there. You can check out more 7 days a week. He's on Twitter, Peter Ellis Tips. He's on his website as well, peterellisracing.com. Jay Rooney is joining us now. It's public holiday in WA. Morning to you, Jay.
Morning, Andrew. How you going?
Very well indeed. So is this for the Melbourne celebrations, or what's the day off for?
Oh, I think it might be Labor Day, but I must admit I work every public holiday, so I can't even remember which one's which.
Exactly.
They're not really public holidays for me, yeah.
Yeah, no, the problem. I've worked through 40 years of that. So Northam on a good 4, fine weather. The first at 12:38 Perth time. What have you found for us?
I'm going to kick off race 4, number 3, Cisco Joe, 3-year-old on debut for Bernie Miller. He's a half-brother to Bernie's stable star in Cup Night. And I think he might have inherited a little bit of that ability, judging by his trials. Really impressed with his last 2 this campaign. He stormed over from the back of the field to finish not too far behind Let's Deal, who was a really good winner on debut and then ran second at Belmont last Saturday. So that's been a pretty hot trial. And then his most recent trial was explosive. He sat back and sized his way through the middle of the field and just let down like like a horse that's got plenty of wins in his future, I think, and winning that trial. So drawn barrier 2 today. He's on the third line of betting at the moment, so I think there might be some support for the top 2 in the market in Safety Fuse and Pikes Mount Real Danger. So Cisco Joe potentially get out in the market a bit. I think he's great value on debut.
$4.40 right now at Bet365 with Safety Fuse, the $2.30 favourite. So that's race 4, number 3. And the other one comes up in the second last, race 8.
Yeah, I'll wait till the second last for number 1, Our Danny. Really consistent mare. She's been sort of finishing between 1 and 2 lengths off horse with the winner in Saturday races recently. Finished third in a 66 plus behind Dia Della Raza and Comes a Time first up there at Belmont. 3 starts later, she wasn't too far off Mystical View in a Saturday race as well, and Mystical View's been in great form for her new connection. So yeah, really like Our Danny just dropping back into this midweek style of race. And she has drawn wide, but she's got a bit of early speed, so she might be able to get across from there. And Chris Parnham taking the ride. She does look really hard to beat.
$3.20 at Bet365 for Chris Parnham there. So the 2 at Northam on a public holiday in WA, race 4, number 3, and race 8, number 1. And I made mention of it just briefly, Jay, the performance of Willie Pike on Saturday. 6 winners at Belmont and none for Bob Peters.
Yeah, it was incredible. That's quite a rarity, actually. Equal career best 6 winners. I think he's done it 3 or 4 times now. And most of them have been at Belmont, but yeah, quite the rare feat to do it without a Peters horse.
Yeah, for sure. We might talk to him as the week goes on, Willie Pike. Good luck today, Jay. Thanks for joining us on a public holiday. Keep working, my boy.
For sure. Thanks, mate.
Good on you. Jay Rooney joining us there from the Western Australian. A break, and then we'll look at today's chasing and pacing on SEN Track. It is the Early Crow, Monday to Thursday mornings at this time. New Zealand Greyhound Racing, couple of venues on today. Manawatu we've focused in on thanks to GRNZ, Greyhound Racing New Zealand. Manawatu begins very close to midday Eastern Standard Time. They like race 1, number 8, Check Me Out, currently at $4 at Bet365. And the other is a little bit of certainly each way. Race 5, number 4, Wi-Fi Wilbur. Right now, $6.50 for Australia's favourite online betting company. Gamble responsibly, 1-800-858-858. So the 2 for Manawatu Greyhounds, race 1, number 8, and race 5, number 4. Let's go and chat about New South Wales Greyhound Racing with Mick Kelly. How are you, mate? Did you have a good weekend?
Mate, very good weekend. As we spoke on Saturday, the tone was set Friday night with South winning and getting into the grand final. So it was all smooth sailing after that, mate.
Yeah, it's remarkable how it's all changed with no storm. Bring it on, the NRL grand final now. The spotlight will be on Queensland this week. And we should mention, I'm going to do a banter on this on Wednesday morning.